I love open-world games as much as anyone, but sometimes they just get overwhelming. For all their beauty and freedom, they often turn into endless checklists of side quests and collectibles that pull you away from the real fun, the story and gameplay. Sure, some of the best single-player games ever are open world, but size doesn't equal quality. What truly hits hard are tight, focused experiences with great pacing and writing. So today, we're looking at 10 modern linear games that prove you don't need a massive map to deliver something unforgettable. Let's jump in. Starting with Dead Space, 2023. Remaking a classic like Dead Space was no easy task for EA Motive. They weren't just reviving a beloved 2008 survival horror masterpiece. They were remaking a game originally crafted by Visceral Studios, a team that no longer even exists. The pressure was massive, but somehow they nailed it. Every inch of the USG Ishimura drips with atmosphere. From the flickering lights to the echoing screams in the vents, the remake captures that same claustrophobic terror while pushing it to modern standards. The visuals, powered by RTO, look stunning, and performance remains smooth throughout. But this isn't just a copy-paste upgrade. Isaac finally has a voice, zero-gravity movement is fully realized, and the story pacing feels tighter and more immersive than ever. It's the kind of remake that respects its source while confidently improving it. Despite being linear, the design feels fluid. Backtracking through familiar halls keeps exploration rewarding without ever losing that tension. Dead Space, 2023, proves you don't need an open world to deliver an unforgettable experience. Just a perfectly crafted nightmare that never lets you breathe. Next is Mafia, the Old Country. In a world where $70 open-world blockbusters dominate the market, Mafia, the Old Country dared to do something different. A $50, fully linear AAA game in 2025. That alone makes it stand out. Just like the first two Mafia titles, the Old Country keeps its focus on storytelling and structured missions, taking you from one moment to the next with sharp pacing and cinematic flair. Set in 1800s Sicily, this prequel is visually stunning. Every cobblestone street, dusty vineyard, and smoky backroom feels straight out of a classic Mafia film. Hangar 13 once again delivers a world that looks open, but stays purposefully linear throughout its roughly 18-hour campaign. Once the story wraps, you can still roam the world freely, exploring its quiet, beautiful landscapes without the pressure of missions or markers. Sure, it's not perfect. I even called it impressively mediocre in my review, but it deserves credit for resisting the urge to go fully open world. Mafia: The Old Country stays true to what made the series memorable. Focused storytelling, stylish presentation, and that unmistakable old-school Mafia charm. For fans of crime dramas, this one's worth taking for a ride. Next is Silent Hill 2, 2023. When Silent Hill 2 first released on the PS2 back in 2001, it arrived just a week before GTA 3, a game that would change the industry forever with its open-world design. But while open worlds became the future, Silent Hill 2 proved that a tightly crafted linear experience could be far more haunting. Fast forward to 2023, and Bloober Team's remake brings that same psychological terror to a new generation. This isn't just a visual upgrade, it's a careful reimagining that respects everything the original stood for, while enhancing it with modern controls, stunning visuals, and deeply immersive sound design. From the fog-covered streets of South Vale to the chilling halls of Brookhaven Hospital, The game never opens up or lets you wander freely. And that's exactly what makes it so effective. Every corridor, every eerie silence, and every encounter is designed to unnerve you, keeping that suffocating tension alive from start to finish. Bloober Team's Silent Hill 2 reminds us that horror doesn't need vast spaces or freedom. Sometimes, being trapped, both physically and psychologically, is what makes the experience unforgettable. Next is Doom: The Dark Ages. If you're the Doomslayer, you don't explore, you destroy. Doom: The Dark Ages understands that perfectly. This isn't a game about wandering through vast open worlds. It's about unleashing chaos, ripping through demons, and never letting your finger off the trigger. While most modern shooters chase open environments and side missions, The Dark Ages proudly sticks to its roots as a fast-paced, arena-style shooter, a genre that's nearly extinct today. Sure, it features some of the biggest, most expansive levels in the modern Doom trilogy, but they're balanced with tightly designed linear missions that keep the action relentless from start to finish. As a prequel to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, it dials things back to a younger, more primal Slayer, trading sci-fi settings for brutal medieval arenas drenched in blood and fire. The larger maps may slow the pace a bit compared to Eternal, but when the action kicks in, it's pure adrenaline. Few games can match the sheer intensity and precision of Doom: The Dark Ages. It's proof that even in a world obsessed with open maps, nothing hits harder than a focused, linear shooter done right. Still Wakes the Deep is as far from a sandbox as you can get, and that's exactly why it works. Trapped on a claustrophobic oil rig in the middle of the sea, you're thrown into a nightmare that never lets up. Every hallway, flooded compartment, and pitch-black maintenance shaft is designed to keep you on edge. There's no map, no quest log, and no freedom to wander. The game funnels you straight into terror. The brilliance of Still Wakes the Deep lies in its restraint. It doesn't rely on open spaces or exploration to scare you. Instead, it uses confinement and careful pacing to make every encounter with the lurking horrors feel intense and personal. The rig itself becomes a character, a living, breathing threat as much as the monsters hunting you. In a world where many games measure fun by freedom, Still Wakes the Deep proves the opposite. Sometimes the best horror comes from being trapped, focused, and forced to survive step by step. It's a masterclass in linear design, showing that tight, deliberate paths can create some of the most unforgettable, edge-of-your-seat experiences in modern gaming. Next is Astro Bot. Nobody expected Astro Bot to hit the heights it did. What began as a charming little tech demo in Astro's Playroom evolved into one of the most joyful linear platformers of the modern era. Amid a sea of photorealistic and cinematic games, Astro Bot feels refreshingly old school. The kind of magic that made Mario 64 feel unforgettable when you first played it. The game's linearity is its biggest strength. Every level is a tightly crafted playground, designed to blend clever platforming with a constant sense of discovery. There are no sprawling maps, no endless checklists, no distractions, just pure, focused fun. Each stage delivers bite-sized moments of delight, showcasing the developer's creativity at every turn. Astro Bot proves that linear games can capture imagination and joy more consistently than many open-world titles. By keeping the path focused and the challenges carefully designed, it creates an experience that's playful, inventive, and impossible not to enjoy. In a gaming landscape obsessed with scale and freedom, Astro Bot reminds us that sometimes the simplest paths lead to the most memorable adventures. Next is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Cal Kestis may be a full-fledged Jedi now, but he's not wandering through a sprawling open-world RPG. Both of Respawn's Star Wars Jedi games have leaned on semi-open maps at most, and Survivor takes that formula further. The game expands the Metroidvania-style structure of the first title, but instead of creating a massive open playground, it offers larger, contained areas you explore piece by piece, keeping the pacing tight and the story front and center. Respawn clearly understands that a Jedi narrative works best when carefully paced, not when spread thin across a huge map. Every high point lands in a curated, cinematic moment, and there's no distraction from endless collectibles, side missions, or map icons. The game keeps players focused on the adventure, letting the combat, exploration, and story shine without compromise. Jedi Survivor strikes a perfect balance, linear enough to maintain focus, but expansive enough to feel truly epic. It's a reminder that you don't need a massive open world to deliver a grand Star Wars adventure. In fact, this focused design hits harder than many open-world games, proving that carefully crafted linear experiences can be just as memorable, if not more so.
I shall make this quick. Trivial. Is that it? You can't win. Such a chore. Face me. I can sense your fear.
Next is Alan Wake 2. The first Alan Wake may not have aged perfectly, but the 2023 sequel, released 13 years later, is nothing short of marvelous. It's a masterclass in writing, tension-filled gameplay, and survival horror done right. Even after decades of gaming, Alan Wake 2 had me thinking, I've never played something like this before. And that's the highest praise it deserves. Every moment and level is meticulously crafted to deliver dread, while keeping players invested in the multiverse-spanning story. The game is completely linear, and it works perfectly that way. In a narrative so reliant on pacing, atmosphere, and carefully timed scares, an open-world structure would have diluted the impact, letting players miss key moments the developers wanted to convey. Alan Wake 2 proves that linear design can enhance storytelling, control pacing, and maximize tension. Each encounter, each darkened corridor, and every piece of the story is delivered exactly as intended. It's a shining example of how modern linear games can combine narrative depth and gameplay intensity, proving that sometimes the best way to explore a world is to follow the path the creators meticulously laid out. Next is Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. 2017's Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice felt less like a game and more like an experimental journey into psychosis. Ninja Theory's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 expands on that vision, but not by making a bloated open world. Instead, it delivers a laser-focused, harrowing story about survival, trauma, and confronting the horrors inside Senua's mind. Open-world freedom wouldn't have served this game. The fear, tension, and psychological depth come from carefully timed whispers, hallucinations, and encounters. Moments the developers control to perfection. Each beat is designed to maximize discomfort and immersion, making the linear path essential to the experience. The presentation is photorealistic, and every detail in Senua's world reinforces the story's intensity. The game's power comes from its linear storytelling, allowing the journey to remain intimate and unforgettable from the splash screen to the credits. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 proves that linear design isn't a limitation, it's a tool. By guiding players through a tightly crafted path, Ninja Theory ensures that every emotional moment lands exactly as intended, creating one of the most gripping and personal experiences in modern gaming. Finally, at last, God of War Ragnarök. The term semi-open world gets thrown around a lot, but it fits perfectly with God of War Ragnarök. Sony Santa Monica made a smart choice by not bending to the pressure of making every major franchise open world. Even with the PS4 revival of the series, they stuck to linear design, exactly what works best for Kratos' story. Ragnarok, the finale, is one of the greatest single-player games ever made. Its emotionally resonant story, unforgettable characters, and stellar performances elevate the experience, while the realms themselves are crafted with incredible care. Each environment feels alive, with passion and detail visible in every frame. While the game allows some freedom to travel between realms, these areas remain linear at their core. Large, beautiful spaces designed to guide players along a set path. Exploration is encouraged, but it never detracts from the pacing or narrative focus. By balancing scale with structure, God of War Ragnarök proves that linear design can coexist with epic worlds and freedom of movement. It's a masterclass in storytelling, level design, and emotional engagement, a fitting end to Kratos' journey, and a shining example of why linear games can hit harder than open worlds.
Head off already?
That is not helpful!
Then do a better job distracting it!
I have it!
In that case...
Hurry!
Finally!
For years, linear was treated like a bad word in gaming, as if every game needed to be massive and endless to be worth playing. Even series like Assassin's Creed grew unnecessarily huge, trading focus for filler just to stretch out playtime. But here's the truth, it's not about size, it's about structure. A great story doesn't need an open map, it just needs purpose, direction, and heart. Linear games remind us why we fell in love with gaming in the first place. Focus, pacing, and emotional impact. And honestly, that'll never go out of style. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, share your favorite linear game in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the best games out there.